And we're back with round 2 of the constructed series. And we have Darren Plaatjies against
Paul Gulbis.
Paul Gulbis.
We've got a kind of a classic matchup here of the Rock Control against Burn. So it's Paul's turn 2. Looks like he won the dice roll. He's leading with a Thoughtseize, which can be quite risky in this matchup. But early on, you can try and save some life, even though you're losing 2 when you cast that.
Well, the Eidolon was going to deal him 2 anyway, so good to get rid of that early.
Yeah, you're basically trading those 2 points as if it were a kill spell, while unlocking your other cheap spells.
Nice thing about the dock as opposed to say Jant or Abzan is you don't have to take as much points of damage off your mana base.
Yes. Was it Kaladesh that spoiled us with a new cycle of Quicklands?
Yes. Also, Fatal Push in Aether Revolt enabling this deck to actually exist. Before, people used to play Janto or Abzan because 1 mana interaction, Path versus Bolt.
Exactly. Yeah, the printing of Fatal Push was a huge boon for this deck. We see Paul going with the Young Pyromancer over the Eidolon. He must be confident he'll be able to kill that without, costing himself too much life.
Possibly has another hand-aid spell.
Seems possible.
Actually, no, it's just gonna be Fatal Push. It's gonna take 2 damage of it anyway. Wait, no, but then why? Possibly doesn't want to have a turn where Darren goes Young Pyro into multiple removal spells? Oh, multiple burn spells.
Yeah, Young Pyro would on turn 3 net a token, which could, end up dealing more damage than the Eidolon if Paul just has the kill spell for it now, which he doesn't. Very interesting.
Okay, so possibly Paul wanting to... Not quite sure why he didn't take the Eidolon then. He must know his reasons behind it. Playing an Urborg and a Tarmogoyf.
It's gonna cost him 2 life. I see he's got a Kalitas in
Possibly hand. The reason why is because he doesn't have removal. So the Young Pyro would get out of hand.
That's very fair. Also, a follow-up Kalitas is going to be pretty good.
Actually, Paul's on 14 because I'm going to assume... Actually, no. He probably didn't take any damage from that Goblin guy that's in Darren's graveyard.
Yeah, Paul was on the play, so he probably just Fatal Pushed that.
Darren top taking a Bolt. Going to run out suspend a Rift Bolt. Instant creature, land, and sorcery in graveyards at the moment. I suppose Paul also playing Kalitas main board.
Yeah, he's got one in his hand now, and it's likely we're going to see it this turn.
Switch back. Apologize for the glare on that stomping ground sitting in the side there. Tomwave coming in for 4. The problem with these burn decks, you deal yourself so much damage that...
Yeah, the games normally just end up being some kind of a race. Okay, so Paul's cast that Kalitas now, and it's very relevant because it has that lifelink ability. And Darren's probably going to have to choose to kill that
as soon as possible.
Yeah, before it wreaks havoc on his board. I mean, he could turn that Eidolon into a zombie on his side and close the game out pretty quickly that way.
The problem now is Darren hits himself for 2
with the Eidolon.
That Rift Bolt. We'll know now whether or not it went at Paul or at Kalitas.
I think it went to the Kalitas because Darren has a bolt in hand.
Yeah. So it turns out that, yeah, Paul's decision to leave the Eidolon in hand is actually working in his favor because the clock is on his side as opposed to Darren's side.
Exactly.
And top ticking Collective Brutality is actually probably game winning.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, he just chooses all the modes and attacks with Tarmogoyf. And he'll be putting an enchantment in the graveyard by killing the.
Eidolon, so yeah. Collective Brutality, which reads counter target burn player.
Yes.
Or rather, make target burn player cry.
I believe it's the same thing.
And yeah, this is game. Darren sitting in disbelief.
Probably thinking, who even plays this main board?
Every single player that plays black and expects to play against burn.
There we go.
The first time it resolved against me, I quietly sat in a corner, and then burn decided to get sold.
No, I see Darren's actually only playing 3 Lava Spike at the moment in this list.
Possibly doesn't have the fourth. Yeah, I think it's more doesn't have the fourth. We'll have a look at actual deck list this time. See, I got it working.
Fantastic.
And of course, as soon as I switch, it breaks for a moment.
Okay, so Darren's definitely choosing to be on the player. What do you think he's going to change in
Path to Exile.
configuration?
It has to come in. Lightning Helix is a pile of trash in this match. It's a 2 mana deal 3 damage when he has multiple 1 mana deal 3 damage. Path to Exile almost always comes in this match on my side. Because it's a traditional green black deck, you can expect no ley lines at all, so no point siding in Destructive Revelry. Deflecting Palm is, however, a very good card for this matchup. Tomahawk does get big. It's another 2 mana deal 4 at that point.
Yes.
In which case, I'd probably be siding out some number of Searing Blaze, since they don't actually kill the majority of his opponent's creatures.
Yeah, you could hope to hit a Grim player early on, but I wouldn't, hang my hopes on it.
If this was the Junt match, I'd possibly leave some number of Searing Blaze in and then cut some number of probably cards like Eidolon's very good in that match, but like Lavamancer is not amazing. Young Pyromancer is not super good.
I think Young Pyro's fine. It allows you to play a slightly longer game where your burn spells gain you additional value.
Sure.
It's just Darren's playing a lot of 2 mana spells in his deck. The only 1 mana spells are Guide, Lavamancer, Swift Spear, Lava Spike, and Bolt. Everything else is 2 mana, which is very taxing on his 18 land deck. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about sideboarding and how efficient he's actually going to be in this game too. What do you think Paul's gonna?
Yeah, on Paul's side, Guardian Charm's actually not terrible.
Especially since he saw that young Pyromancer.
Yeah. Another card is like Scavenging Ooze. Really, really tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Liliana the Lost Hope is probably not as good as Lily of the Veil in this match. So I could see that coming out. Other cards that I'd definitely take out, Thoughtseize. That card is target burn spell deals 1 less damage. Which isn't exactly the most exciting.
Yeah, unless you're hitting a premium card like Deflecting Palm or Path or Tarkus Command, you're suffering from major diminishing returns on that card, where it would normally be tagging something of very high power level, whereas you're just going to be getting more of the same out of Darren's deck. I don't see him cutting any creatures.
Yeah, his creatures are all really, really good in this match.
Yeah, I think we can expect him to trim on Abrupt Decay though, just because it's not a fast enough answer, and Collective Brutality
is just better. It hits everything.
Yes. Fatal Push, I see that staying as a 4th because it absolutely decimates every creature in Darren's deck.
Although we're saying this, but it depends on how many cards he's going to bring in. The only automatic change really is basically Thoughtseize out for another card, which is like 3 Scavenging Ooze. Then he still has 1 card to bring in, so possibly Golgari Charm and cut in Abrupt Decay.
Sure.
For the second one.
Damnation isn't even that bad. So let's say you have a decent enough start, you can use a Damnation to clear up some Eidolons.
The problem is Damnation costs 4 mana, so...
Yes, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah. Possibly better than Abrupt Decay. You could 2 for 1 your opponent, but at the same time, Abrupt Decay...
It is an instant, which is
very
good. And it doesn't care about the size of your opponent's creatures as well.
Although none of his removal cares about the size of creatures against burn.
Apart from the Collective Brutality and Swift Spear.
Sure. Well, they look like they're about ready to start. We'll switch over. Darren being on the play is really important because he has to try and get as much teachers down as soon as possible. Another card that's going to be extremely important in this match is a Tarkus command.
Oh
Not
yes,
only does it stop life gain from brutality, but it also puts his creatures out of -2/-2 range.
yes. Yeah, Atakas Command's going to be one of the better cards in this matchup. Whenever Paul's going to try and gain life, Atakas Command's going to need to try and jump in and stop that while, trying to do some damage itself. But again, it's tough to hold up so many 2 mana spells in this burn deck while it's still trying to be so proactive.
The problem with Darren playing only 18 lands is he's gonna get situations where a Tarkus command on turn 2 could have put a land into play in another
Yes.
burn deck, and you've had 4 mana, which is probably the ideal amount. You want 4 lands at most and no more when you're playing burn, because 4 mana lets you double spell almost every single turn with almost any combination of spells.
Yes.
Actually, with any combination of spells.
And we see Darren taking a knock here. He's actually taking a mulligan.
Paul
Which
keeping
is-
7, I believe.
Looks like it, yeah.
And going into this match, I think Paul was almost always going to be favored because being a 2-color deck versus a 3-color deck and your own clock is just as fast as your opponent's.
Oh yes.
Mainboarding Collective Brutality. Probably expected a bunch of burn players today.
And a whole bunch of, small creatures.
And even if he does play against like another couple of Tarmogoyfs, he still has Fatal Push's mainboard and Abrupt Decays.
Exactly. Looks like Darren's only got one land in this 6-card hand. He might be forced to keep it even though it's not ideal. He's got a lot of 1 mana action going on. He gets to chip in with a Swift Spear on turn 1, and if he draws that second land, his hand's actually pretty good.
I
Even-
think this is a keep, all things considered. You can't mull it. It does have Path to Exile if he does draw a White Source.
Yeah, basically any fetch is fantastic. And you get to be doing, it'll be the best 6-card hand you can have if he draws that land on time.
Well, he's keeping it, and this guy's, that's a Lightning Bolt.
Any non-land card to the bottom.
I think you just put that down.
Yeah. Look, it's not ideal to keep one land hands in a burn deck. It needs the 2 manas to start double spelling as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's not able to keep up with any of the decks in the format.
Another awkward thing is if he doesn't see a White Source, he actually mulled to 4.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he does, the 6 land is miles better.
Oh gosh.
And then starting with Lava Spike because not wanting to expose the Swift Spear to Fatal Push, particularly. Hold on to 16, then on 18.
Well, I think it would have been correct to play the Sorceress first,
Yeah,
because it's a good chance Paul would have had to take some amount of damage.
well, not actually because the green black deck just plays 4 Blooming Marshes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul wasting no time abrupt decaying that Swift Spear.
Okay, so with this line, the Swift Spear would have dealt the same amount of damage whether or not it was turn 1 or played on turn 1 or not. And it looks like Darren's been locked out of the game by his mana situation.
And the Tarmogoyf is just gonna get in 3
Tarmogoyf's
damage.
a fair size now.
3/4 means it doesn't die too. Yeah, Goblin Guide.
Yeah, he won't be
Yeah.
attacking.
It gets Fatal Pushed as well, and there's a double Goyf on the field. I don't think Darren has a way of coming back from this. Triple Goyf. Yeah, that's lethal. Next turn.
I don't think. No, there's nothing.
Yeah, that's game. It was, even if he top decked a White Source, he only had one path to deal with
Yeah,
Goyfs.
there's no basic to fetch, so he would have taken the 3 in any case and still died.
Yeah, so pretty quick game. Like, disgustingly quick.
Yeah, I think it's more a case of Darren didn't draw well at all. I don't think he would have had much of a chance against Triple Goyf in any case.
Yeah, traditionally playing Burn, if you see Tarmogoyf from the opposing side, it's really hard to deal with, and it is a clock because you deal yourself so much damage.
And you're putting a range of different types of cards in the graveyard.
Like I've liked deflecting palm the most against Goif decks, but even there, like he was stuck on one land, burn can't function on one land. As like people think, no, it's just a mono red aggro deck. No, it's actually
It's really
a very
complex.
mid-range styled aggro deck as opposed to a traditional super aggro deck. You kind of need at least two lands to actually do anything, otherwise you're just gonna die.
So
And
do
then
you,
we do see, well, they're showing off the sideboarding patterns, Scavenging Ooze and
Golgari
Golgari
Charm.
Charm. That inside had the paths. I'm going to assume he had deflecting palms as well.
I'm sure he brought all of those goodies in. Do you think it would have been correct for him to go to 5 on the play?
I think the keep on 6 was the correct decision because his hand had the tools to deal with the match. It wasn't a particularly good match in the first place, and he did get unlucky not seeing the second land. But on the same like topic, he's playing 18 lands as opposed to the traditional 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a consideration. If I was playing the deck and I had 20 lands, I would have kept that without even a second thoughts. That hand would just be
Yeah.
perfect. Alternatively, if he had Sacred Foundry instead of Stomping Ground, it also would have been a lot stronger.
A lot on keep, you would have kept that. You would have saved yourself, what, 9 life from the first Goif?
Yeah. But it didn't work out that way, and Paul came out victorious. We'll see you guys in the next round.